All right, welcome everyone. We're here and for the Full Gear Wrestling Inc.'s Full Gear podcast and review. That was a terrible intro. I'm sorry, Raj. I'm here with Raj Giri, and
Jesse.
I know I blew it. I'm sorry. I got to script these things out for me. I can't go off bullet points. How'd you guys like the show?
And Matt Morgan, in
I
case
said
you were
that.
wondering,
I'm sorry.
no, you didn't.
Off
Folks,
to a rollicking start.
really quick. Welcome, folks, to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I am Matt Morgan, some dude, Jesse in the middle, and Raj over on the far end. We had a wonderful, spectacular Saturday night of AEW action. Thank you for joining us here on the hottest podcast in all the land, Wrestling Inc. post-show podcast. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, Matt, for that awesome intro, guys. What'd you guys think about the show, real quick?
I was just saying before we started that I'm always a homer. I admit it when we judge these things, but what's the first thing I told you guys? That these shows are way too damn long. I've been waiting all day to watch this show. Again, this is the second back-to-back times this has happened where I'm falling asleep in the main event. I'm just going to be honest. Not because I wasn't excited to watch any of it, but because it is too damn long.
I thought it was a great pay-per-view. I thought it was one of the stronger AEW pay-per-views that they did. There were some minuses.
Yes. I loved it.
Eddie Kingston's gear. We'll talk about it. I know Jesse, as an All Japan lover, that 2% of the audience got. That's
no,
great.
Excalibur said it. He said it was inspired by Mitsuharu
still
Misawa.
No one's going to get it.
What's to get? He says it's inspired by a great wrestler.
So
yes,
if Roman Reigns comes in a grudge match dressed as Akeem, and they say, "Hey, he's dressed as a great old '80s WWF wrestler,"
all right,
so that makes it okay.
No, listen. Can you guys hear me? Listen.
Yeah, we can.
Misawa was a huge star, a humongous legend, Hall of Famer in Japan. To be fair, but I also make the argument: 2% of our audience here that's watching it knows this.
I mean, that's fine. I personally I don't find the gear that distracting. I actually marked out for the gear, but 2%? I'm obviously in a small.
The majority of people on Twitter were ripping on the gear. They didn't get it, or B.
I said 2% of our audience knows who the guy is. I said 2% knows who Misawa is.
People know way more who Homicide is. We're Homicide's gear, right? From Impact.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't think it's a big deal. If you were watching the show, as a fan, you're watching the show and you're like, "What's he doing wearing that gear?" And then Excalibur says that gear's inspired by Mitsuharu Misawa, the Japanese legend. It's one of Eddie's heroes. Like that's it. That's the end of the story. Like I don't think you're still.
Again,
I don't.
If Roman Reigns, if they're like, oh, what inspired his gear? He's wearing Akeem, the African Dream, 1991. If it looks like shit on him, it looks like shit on him.
Okay, that's fine if you think it looks like shit. I personally just don't think that's that big of an issue with his gear.
It was a huge. He looked like a joke. He looked like a jobber out there, and his whole thing up till the buildup was this badass New
Real
Yorker.
person.
He'll stab you. And then he's wearing this neon green, his guts hanging out, and these shorts. He looked like crap. It just did not fit the part.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I can get over that.
Wear a t-shirt, wear shorts.
None of us can.
Wear jeans and a t-shirt. It would look way better.
Sure.
I
guess for the case of the street
character.
Fight, yeah. I mean,
these are characters, and
I don't think it's such a great character.
Thug.
Yeah.
I even tweeted out that I find it an interesting paradox that he's this guy that's inspired by this Four Pillars All Japan style wrestling, but he's also at the same time this loud New Yorker. So I'm entertained by that kind of notion. I'm entertained by the gear. I'm like, oh, he's wearing Misawa's gear. That's awesome.
He's easily.
I don't think it's a big problem.
Things in wrestling right now.
Oh, he's
Is my
great.
microphone not working?
No, Matt, we can hear you.
Guys, tell me.
You're good.
Oh. Yeah, he's most entertaining. One of the most entertaining things in wrestling right now. So I think a lot of the people at Raj that we're not admitting it looked bad is because we want him to be this main event star because I'm sorry he backs it up on the mic and I love watching him. So I don't know. But let's get into the show.
Well, I just want to click on the comments a little bit. We got. Can I do this, or is that you have to do that?
How do I have to do? Yeah.
Raj.
First off, well, we'll get back to this. Jamin John is asking if you have any memories of Taker back in 2003 from SmackDown. We'll get back to that. And then Justin Lopez with the $5 super chat saying the attire does not match his character. It's too inconsistent. I agree. If Roman Reigns coming out dressed like Hakeem, it would suck.
Okay, again, I said this offline. I think like a better analogy would be like Randy Savage 1992 Macho King outfit, because Hakeem is like not a significant person in wrestling history.
But if it brings out the worst in you, like if it
I understand.
Nobody would listen. No wrestler would look up to Hakeem either. No offense to Hakeem, and be inspired enough to wear his shit. So let's use Macho King for your example, or whomever for your example. If it doesn't fit the talent, though, that's what we should be talking about here. And it doesn't fit the talent, right? It just doesn't. This is the one guy carbon cut out to wear the cut off black T-shirt, the jean shorts. He can get away with that. Bandana on backwards like Tupac. That's it. That's all he's got to do. Call it a day.
Real quick, fun times with games. Why does Kenny look so weird without his ring gear? He dresses like he got out of bed without his ring gear.
He's not a sharp dresser. Ricky Starks, on the other hand, is a sharp dresser.
Yeah, he dresses like a star.
Too sharp. We'll get into it. We'll get into that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
KG Laundry says, "Who cares what these athletes wear? Screw what the trendy people on Twitter say. Jesus, are there men out there that still watch wrestling for the sport and not for the fashion?"
That's it. We're only talking about fashion. We're not even going to talk about the show. We're going to just go over what people are wearing.
Wrestling is not a sport. It's entertainment, and part of it is stars and superstars. And yes, that does matter.
Okay.
And he's saying it was a type of there.
So, real quick, I'm going to go through the
one more thing. Alejandro Villarreal saying, only downside of Darby winning was he did not get the pop he deserved after being able to finally win the TNT Championship. He's still got a good pop.
Anybody that wins something. That's anybody that is in this day and age of COVID.
Yeah,
but you
that's
still
just
got
the reality.
The talents at the right time, and this was a very good moment for. I like this. It was a great match. We'll get into that. I don't want to forego. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So real quick, just go through. I'm just gonna. The pre-show only had one match on it. It was Serena Deeb versus Allison Kay for the NWA Women's Championship. It was probably like 7 or 8 minutes. Serena Deeb retained. She got Allison Kay to submit. Did you guys see the pre-show at all?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
I think Serena Deeb looks. I cannot believe that WWE didn't use her as a wrestler. She is so good. Like, I thought maybe she was past her prime, but she isn't. She looked so good.
Yep, she's a veteran women's talent that's got a lot of experience, and those are always in demand. And I don't know what her contract situation is. I don't know how much she's going to be on AEW, but I think for a company like AEW that needs experienced women like that, the more we see her on the product is the better. And then in the post-match, Thunder Rosa actually came out, Thunder Rosa having lost the NWA Women's Championship to Serena Deeb at the NWA pay-per-view a few weeks ago. It looks like they're going to continue that feud, and by the fact that this happened on an AEW show, I assume that we're going to see something either on Dynamite or on a pay-per-view down the road between those two.
All right.
And yeah, so that was it on the pre-show. They did a lot of video packages. I recommend, actually, if you have the chance to watch some of these video packages on the pre-show, because I think they do an awesome job, especially with some of these feuds like MJF and Jericho and Moxley and Kingston, because those had such great builds that I felt like that they had really good video packages that mixed in promos and everything like that. So we're going to go to the opening match. It was Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page. Kenny Omega wins the match via One Wing Angel. After the match, Kenny storms out and doesn't, console with Page. Page looked sad that he lost the title. So Kenny's the number one contender for the championship. Matt, what'd you think about the first match?
Great bell to bell action. Obviously, like everyone knew it would be. I just, again, don't like Hangman Page sitting there more worried that his buddy beat him and stormed off versus checking on him versus hanging out with him to hug him. Like they gotta stop as hell. But that said, I do think I'm actually more interested in Kenny getting booked a certain way, winning matches, being in the heavyweight championship title match, right? Contendership at least, and being treated like a main event talent. He needs to pick up on his end on the stuff in between. And we'll get into that when we go to the Young Buck match towards the end of the night.
Mm-hmm. Raj, what did you think of the match?
I thought it was really good. I thought it was a
awesome
strong
match.
Opener.
Yep.
I mean, I was surprised because AEW usually does the UFC style where you start with the least hyped match. Mm-hmm. So you start with your John Silver, Orange Cassidy match and then build up from there.
Right.
But they kind of mixed it up. This was more WWE style where they try to start off with a hot opening match and then bring you down and then up and then down. I thought it was really good. From a storytelling point, I feel like we'll see where it goes from here. But Adam Page, I think when he's the puppy dog, he sucks. I feel like it's hard to...
You think he's too passive?
When he's passive. But when he was getting over, when we had crowds, it was when he was drinking beer, going crazy, and that's the Adam Page that was getting over. And that's the Adam Page that I think fans want. And I think that's the Adam Page that can be a superstar. Mm-hmm. So we'll see, because I think later, wasn't he in the tunnel at the end?
Yeah, they didn't draw a ton of attention to it, but you could see when Kenny was out, helping the Bucks up, Adam Page was lurking in the background. It was actually a great camera shot.
Oh my God, he looked like a wuss.
I missed it. Yeah, he did. He looked like a jilted ex-girlfriend. And I was gonna say you almost missed it. I had to rewind it and go back and see it only because Tony Schiavone's like, "Who's that lurking in the shadows?" You know.
Yeah, the announcers they didn't.
I was like, well,
they didn't.
So I had to go back and see it again. Thank God, Schiavone at least said something for me to go back and see it. But
yeah, I thought the match was really good. I thought they kind of left a lot of meat on the bone. Like they didn't do everything they could have in this match. Yeah, no, I agree.
That's the way it should be.
Right. Yeah, because this is still going.
This isn't their last match together against each other. And I thought that Hangman Page could win this match. I thought there was a storyline you have where Page wins the match, then he beats Moxley for the title, and he beats Kenny to the AEW championship, and that kind of sends Kenny further over the edge. And it elevates Hangman faster and kind of sets up the feud where Hangman is the champion and Kenny is the challenger.
But they got to get Hangman hot to do that, and they're cooling him down.
Hangman's another guy. He's a guy whose momentum was really peaking when they had crowds, and when they don't have crowds, he's definitely.
You don't kill it.
I don't think he's been killed.
Now with the puppy dog stuff, he's getting killed. He was.
You're right, Raj. But there's no matter what, there's no way for him to come out of this positive because he's not going to be Kenny Omega. And Kenny, they really do need to get on track ASAP. He's the big. Mm-hmm. I like Hangman Page more or less better, but I'm still waiting to see the Kenny Omega that everybody heard all this great stuff about from Japan, yada yada, best bout machine, yada yada yada, but transition to an American audience. They've had a year now to figure out how to do this. I'll argue he's had a year to figure out how to get that over. That's on him. And we'll get into it at the end. Coming out in lost and found gym shorts that he slipped on a banana peel and just probably threw on before making a run and help his best friends win a tag team titles. That's the little shit I'm talking about. I'm not saying he's got to wear a three-piece suit, but not that crap.
I will say this. We are starting to see, by the ratings, that you can get an audience back with the right storyline. Roman Reigns on SmackDown and Sasha Banks and Bayley. The last 2 weeks, they have done the ratings in the 18 to 49 demo that they were doing before the pandemic. It's been equaling what they were doing. It's been hot. So we're getting to a point now where I think you can get back. And now with the news stations, now that the election is going to die down.
We'll see.
Well, we'll see. But it's going to come down some, I would think. We'll see. But from the ratings, we'll be able to tell a lot. Real quick, Rojo Bear 24 saying, I'm glad Shida won. Nyla is still green. And
no, God, we'll get into that. Let's keep it with the flow of the show to all the callers or writers, please?
Yeah, the only problem is they disappear. We can't get back to them. Jody Shauna Jenkins saying, speaking of fashion, the MJF robe mocking Jack and Chris Jericho's robe of the Lights Plus was great. MJF's plaid worked in as well. On point, MJF gets it.
Of course he gets it.
He dresses like a star. All right.
Timur.
Yeah, go for it.
Cone saying, I like the little touches in the finish where Page was fighting to the last second, even when Kenny had him on the shoulders for the one-winged angel. I thought that was great.
Everything is a struggle. Everything is a struggle. That's how you sell good competition.
And finally, KG Laundry saying, how can you call the men and women athletes, but wrestling is not a sport? Athletes play sports, and these men and women are athletes, which means wrestling is a sport.
So I come from this school. Jim Cornette's one of the biggest influences on me early in my career, helped train me, right? But they always call it entertaining sport. Is when they started calling sports entertainment, like Jimmy lost his mind over it, right? That was right around that time. I'd started with WWE, from WWF to WWE. And to call it an entertaining sport with athletes, because I'm an ex-collegiate two-sport athlete. So you could bet your, whatever, we are all athletes, no question. You have to be a good athlete more times than not to be a good, successful wrestler. But you need to be a better entertainer on top of anything else.
It's like figure skating, which is an Olympic sport. It's rehearsed. They plan their routines or ballet or whatever.
But you have to be athletic to pull it off.
You have to be athletic, yes. You have to be. If you're not, you're not going to make it. So
The worst conversation in sports talk radio is this a sport? Is this not a sport? Is NASCAR a sport? All that kind of stuff. So we're going to second match on the show was Orange Cassidy versus John Silver. Right. Orange Cassidy won with a beach break. I thought it started slow, but they did a bunch of complicated spots, picked up the speed at the end. Matt, what do you think about the second match?
I love Silver. He's my Orange Cassidy so far this year, honestly. I knew he wasn't going to win. I mean, he was there to do the job, but I'm happy he got some pay-per-view shot a little bit. He got to stand that for this group.
Matt, you're breaking up a little.
Orange Cassidy. Can you hear me?
You're breaking up a little.
All right, let me come back. I'll come back.
Okay. I felt like Orange Cassidy needed a bigger match. Coming off of a win over Jericho at the last pay-per-view, John Silver, if you're not watching BTE, you're like, why the fuck is this guy on the pay-per-view? It's to that diehard fan but that is such a small percentage of the people that actually watch BTE. And anyone that understands how YouTube views and actual TV ratings knows what I'm talking about. It's actually
I think the pay-per-view buys. I think pay-per-view is a little bit different because I think pay-per-views are going to have a greater percentage of hardcore fans than that are maybe paying attention to BTE. I mean, this is just a mid-card second match from the top.
Right. Wouldn't you want to put Orange Cassidy with someone like a Ricky Starks or just someone higher up the ladder after coming off a win of a Chris Jericho on the last pay-per-view?
To me, this is him. Orange Cassidy gets a match on the pay-per-view. There's a lot of talented guys who don't get a match on a pay-per-view on this pay-per-view.
But getting someone that
they believe in John Silver, so they're giving him an opportunity.
Give John Silver someone else. Give John Silver a build him up.
But bro, even Starks that you use, do you really want to see Starks take a loss on a pay-per-view already? Again?
I mean, I can name a ton of guys, that could take a loss to Orange Cassidy.
I'm with you, Matt, on the John Silver hype. Tony Khan told a story on a podcast that basically that he saw John Silver doing this stuff on Being the Elite and he wasn't doing any of that on the main show. And he's like, dude, we got to get you doing this on the main show because if he's over on Being the Elite, he's in like 5 segments on each episode.
Here's the thing.
And so they're trying to get him established.
Okay.
On
AEW, if you're over off stage, people would always say how Dean Malenko was hilarious backstage.
Yes.
Or you hear all these wrestlers who have all this charisma backstage, but if it doesn't translate in front of a national audience,
No, yes, you're correct. But to be fair, Raj, you haven't seen any of these being the Elite, so you don't know what we're talking about.
He's not doing it backstage.
Hang on, let me finish. Let me finish. Because I'm driving this kid's train. You guys, anyways, listen. The difference is, Raj, it's not video of Dean Malenko holding court. It's not video of Dean Malenko doing these hilarious skits. It's not. This is proof that this kid can carry stuff. He's hilarious. He's in shape. I know he's short, but at least he's jacked. Looks like he's an athlete, God forbid. But more importantly, he's entertaining as crap, and it's a video of him doing it. All right? I know it's a small audience on being the Elite, right? I get that. But the point is, if you own that company, you're Tony Khan, you're watching this going, what the fuck? Why are we not doing this on our TV? No shit, Tony Khan. Why aren't you doing it on TV? Stop putting him in a mask and making him do lame-ass shit.
Well, to that point, then let's get him out of the Dark Order, which is the death knell, and have him beat the Librarian. Give him a small win to start, build him up slowly.
Yes.
Have him cut a promo, do whatever, get his personality out.
He's a
but
big personality.
This match was cold.
I'm with you, Matt, on John Silver being a star. I think he can wrestle pretty well. He did good in the match tonight as far as work. He's funny. He's got physical charisma. Mm-hmm. He's got a great physique. He's just short. If he was 6 feet tall, the sky's the limit with him.
All right, so real quick, KG Laundry is saying, even though you disagree with me, I still think you're absolutely the best, Raj, and you're brilliant for creating Wrestling Inc. Thank you very much, sir. That is
brilliant for creating. Wait.
That actually is. I actually am brilliant for creating.
He was on. You were in early on the boom.
I was a chemical engineer. I was a chemical engineer.
You could be doing science right now. Instead, you're talking to us.
I could be creating...
To be making money at your fandom, essentially, right? For wrestling.
I could be creating new kinds of paper, which sucks. Justin Lopez saying, it's like, I don't know where you go with the direction with Hangman right now to heat him up. Everyone else has a direction. It feels like he's limbo right now. I think that's I feel like they have a long-term direction with Hangman to eventually beat Kenny Omega for the title.
Oh yeah, I mean they're not giving up on Hangman, right? They're not giving up on him. They're not like they don't think he's not a main event star. He wasn't buried tonight. Yeah, they believe in him. I think tonight was more about Kenny than it was about Hangman.
Yes,
they need to get Kenny because he's a waste if they don't get Kenny.
Sure. So the third match was Darby versus Cody. Darby ends up winning the TNT title. He ends up rolling up Cody at the end of the match. Matt, what'd you think?
I love the finish. Love the whole match. Loved what Cody was doing, like working the arm. That was so original and how he was working. Guys, to work an arm is usually so damn boring. Cody made it very exciting for a lot of his offense that he was using. I'm annoyed though still that Arn Anderson has to coach, like, with a stupid playbook to such a, I'm not going to say Hall of Fame wrestler yet, but somebody as great of a talent as Cody Rhodes, a main event talent. He does not need a coach for the 55th time. Cody Rhodes would not be doing push-ups after a pin attempt just for Arn Anderson to come and smack the mat and tell him to pay attention. Like, no, he's Cody Rhodes. He doesn't need coaching. And it's hokey when they infuse that. But the match itself, bell to bell, holy shit, you guys, if you didn't watch this match, go watch this match. And Darby Allin, his offense is so original. I love Darby Allin. The only thing is, Jim Ross, again, has got to stop overselling it. Like, this kid has no shot in hell. I mean, I get being the underdog. I get that. But I don't know. It was a little... I didn't like the ending of it and how Jim was calling it when Darby won. It should have been like, holy shit, I can't believe he won. Can you believe it? Excalibur, something like that. But it wasn't. It was like he couldn't believe Darby Allin could beat him.
It was too big they played it up like it was too big of an upset. Made Darby lesser.
For my liking, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Two things here. First of all, Cody was introduced as Cody Rhodes, where just 3 days ago he was saying, I'm not going to use that name in pro wrestling. So he's turning into Dana White, where you can't trust what he says on the media calls, which is fine.
I didn't know he wasn't going to say he was going to use it. Huh.
Yeah. He said he wouldn't use it. He said he's going to use it for outside projects. But he was Cody Rhodes here, which, again, I think it sounds... Cody just doesn't sound complete.
No, I love that. I like that. Why was he able to be Cody Rhodes, by the way? I didn't understand.
So WWE owned the trademarks to Cody Rhodes. Cody had all these WCW pay-per-view trademarks, and so they agreed to kind of trade off where he gets his name back and he won't go after the WCW trademarks. And he was going after a lot of weird random ones like Bunkhouse Brawl.
He won. He must have won that one, right?
He won Bunkhouse Brawl, yeah. He won a few. He won
Bash at the
Beach. That they did the show last week.
I like the WCW pay-per-view names, though.
Yeah, the one thing I missed about WCW pay-per-views, like Halloween Havoc, Bash at the Beach, is they look different.
Yeah.
All WWE pay-per-views look the same. The logo is different, but they look the same. Whereas WCW would remember it more because you could, like Hogan turning on Savage and turning heel, always remember it at Bash at the Beach because it was that outdoor setting.
Yeah.
Well, you said that, Raj.
They were all themed differently. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, Raj, you said that about AEW. You said that was something you liked, was that they do kind of different themes with the pay-per-views.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know if it's just the lighting or they just changed the apron or the pads or something like that, but you can tell like it's full gear, and as opposed to like Revolution has its own color scheme and Double or Nothing has its own theming. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, tonight they had some random orbs on the stage, but they had the lighting was different. It looked different. It didn't look like an episode of Dynamite.
So then we had
real quick.
Go for it.
More of these super chats. Dustin X saying Bucks FTR match of the night. I agree. Matt sold his injury nicely. Cornette always be complaining that he cancel for crap. LOL. That subliminal that did that Matt Hardy towards Cornette during the deletion match. Cage saying Chemical Engineer, I'm gonna have some of my money back from these super chats. Hey man, Chemical Engineer can know his wrestling. And I Am Era saying Cody versus Darby best match. Cody lost to his hubris.
Yeah, I like the storyline. Cody was super confident. He wrestles Darby Allin almost like he's Brock Lesnar, like he's just bigger than him. He's tossing him around. He's working him over. He's super confident the entire time.
Can I say one thing? Is Cody really that jacked that we're talking about? His like musculature.
Comparatively.
On the announce table, though, no, they're saying specifically he's added more muscle. I can't tell.
He looks jacked. He's way more jacked than when he was Stardust.
I think he was wearing a full bodysuit when he was Stardust.
Do not make me take my shirt off and show you what Jack looks like.
Hey, don't make me take my shirt off.
Slightly above average.
But when he's
this match, when you looked at him next to Darby, it did remind me of...
I'm not saying that, though. I'm not comparing it versus him.
Right.
I'm saying
the
Darby table is going overboard, and it feels like they're kissing his ass because he's one of the vice presidents.
They're like, Cody looks like Schwarzenegger.
Yes. His strength. He's so much stronger.
My God, look at this powerhouse.
So there was a post-match angle to this. I got like,
sorry.
But you know what this match reminded me of? Matt, you'll remember this. Is the Triple H versus Jeff Hardy matches. Like in 2000.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was 2000. I can't remember if it was 2000.
It was. I think it's early SmackDown, right? You're talking about when Triple H was the Intercontinental Champion.
Well, it was when it was when Triple H and Stone Cold started the
two-man power trip.
The two-man power trip, and then Jeff Hardy beat Triple H, and then the next week Triple H squashed him. But it was one of those things where you just couldn't buy Jeff Hardy beating Triple H yet, but they were selling it, and I don't know. I just felt like I couldn't buy Darby Allin yet.
Really. Dude, really?
I think Darby Allin as a character is awesome, and I like this match.
Oh man!
So I did like this with the entrances. You have Darby come out. He drives this like crappy car up. He gets out. He's by himself. Cody comes out. He's got like this ridiculously big team. Like he's, Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor. He's got Arn. He's got Brandy. He's got all his students, his brother, all these people around him. And they show Darby's in the corner completely by himself, alone, the loner. And Cody's surrounded himself with all of the people. It's the Nightmare Family. We're going to come out and wear these matching jackets. I like that bit of storytelling. It told you about the characters just from the entrances. And then there was the post-match angle. Taz comes out, cuts a promo to distract Cody and Darby. They get jumped from behind by Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. They bring Darby over. They beat up Darby and Cody. They eventually bring Darby over to the car that Darby drove in on. They're going to like smash his arm in the car door. Will Hobbs comes out with a steel chair and chases them off. So looks like they're keeping that angle going between Will Hobbs and Darby with Team Taz.
So again, this was a really good match. This is one of my favorite matches on the card tonight. I love the psychology that Cody used. It was a complete contradiction, though. Again, the stuff he was doing with Arn, making silly mistakes that he doesn't make. But at the end of it, I was going to say they were trying to fit 20 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, in my opinion. They should have given Darby his moment, let him hold that title, because they started conveying way too many messages. They started jamming in way too many messages. And then you have Taz interrupt the moment between Cody going a little bit overboard, in my opinion, bestowing the title on to Darby, right? Which kind of makes Cody look douchey, in my opinion. Trying to steal his limelight a little bit, it made it look like to me. Anyways, and then Taz interrupts it, and then he sets the table for his two guys to come in and, get on both of them from the back. I'm like, all right, so they're going to set up a tag match here. This makes sense, but it's still taking too long. And then finally, they go to the outside of the ring, and now you introduce Will Hobbs as well. Guys, by this point, I damn near forgot that Darby Allin just won the TNT title.
Yes. I agree. I love this match. I thought Cody did an outstanding job. Cody, I think, does the best job of storytelling in a match that you see. He's just outstanding. You see it awesome. Time and time again, pay-per-view per pay-per-view. It was awesome. And he built Darby Allin. And to Matt's point, it was just kind of taken away. You kind of forget about it by the time everything is done. You're just like, Darby Allin got smashed on a car and someone saved him. They could have done that angle on Dynamite.
Yes, they could. Yep.
But I thought the match itself was excellent. The aftermath, not so much. Yeah, I agree. And Will Hobbs, I think, is a perfect example of AEW having too much talent right now in a weird way.
I agree.
They give someone some momentum and they don't follow up on it the next week. Will Hobbs had an awesome match with Brian Cage. He lost, and they did this angle where Taz wants him, whatever. The next week, he's not on the show. Have him on the show. You cut the Young Bucks. They're already over as hell. Give some of these guys the momentum once they start building a little bit of it. Brian Cage, all these guys, Lance Archer. It's just like it keep cutting off.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I feel similar when it comes to the size of the roster, and they just keep adding people and adding people and adding people. And right now they only have 2 hours on TNT. They just don't have the amount of time to get somebody in. And if you start getting someone over, they kind of have a hard time keeping that momentum going because they might have a match and they might not be seen for a month.
I'm a huge Dark mark. A lot gets done on Dark right now.
It's true, but people aren't seeing that. I agree that Dark has a lot of storylines, right. And they it's kind of fun because you'll see stuff happening on Dark and then see like it happened on Dynamite, and you're like, oh, I saw that on Dark. But I think when they get the third hour on TNT,
like WWE is not going to be like this happened on Main Event, and you are supposed to know what happened.
When they get that third hour on TNT. And I think even Tony Khan has said that, if it wasn't for the pandemic, that third show would be launched and we would have space for more of this talent. But for now,
they're still going to do their angles on Dark. You need to still bring that on.
Yeah, but you'll have more time on TNT to get stuff over as opposed to these limited 2 hours. And it's really competitive for them. They say they're trying to win the night and they're trying to win ratings, and that you need to have your big stars to win those ratings, and it's a delicate balance between sacrificing segments that might lose viewers because it's people who the most fans don't recognize, and then leaning on your big stars to draw viewership.
Yeah, and real quick, Darby, I still think that was the right move, absolutely the right ending. Darby is a future star in that company, so
he's different.
Everything he does is different, not just his look, his offense, how he ducks a clothesline. Everything he does is so damn different. I like watching him.
I like his vignettes. I think they're so different, and they're not always. They don't always hit, but they always catch my eye when I'm watching the show. It's like, what is happening here?
It was just too bad that it was kind of taken away at the end. But it was awesome that he should have won this match.
All right, real quick backstage segment between Dustin with the Natural Nightmares. Dustin challenges the Butcher and the Blade to a bunkhouse match. They did not explain what a bunkhouse match is. The Bunkhouse Brawl from WCW was a cage match where you could only win by throwing your opponent out of the cage. I don't know if they're going to be doing that, but that's going to be on Dynamite this week, and that's a continuation of the storyline between the Butcher and the Blade and the Natural Nightmares and Allie flipping sides and all this stuff. Any thoughts on the Bunkhouse Brawl?
No, because I love Dustin, but he just sped right through that promo. He showed a lot of passion, a lot of heart in it. But no offense, it's not really worth talking about because it's two teams I don't care about.
The one thing I can say about Dustin is, good God, he looks so good for his.
Look at his vein. Look at the vascularity in his arms. Like, he looks. It's the best he's ever looked physically. I'm sorry.
Gosh, he is. I mean, he's ridiculous. He's on another level. Like, I think he's 48, 49.
I think
he's
50.
older. I'm 44. He's well over 50.
The internet will tell me this. Goldust. He is
to be
51.
More than 6 years old.
51.
Yeah.
Jesus. Gives me some hope.
He's on the Minoru Suzuki. He's on the Minoru Suzuki diet.
I'll be back to working out. I've taken a 3-month break. All right, KG Landry saying, now that MJF is in the inner circle, will Sammy Guevara become a babyface? Am I incorrect saying that it also seemed like a feud between MJF and Sammy Guevara was being built up? I think. Well,
those two should hate each other right away. Those two are both cocky little pricks that should hate each other.
Wrestling is all about storylines. That's always what's drawn, and this is something that could draw people in. You know, like where they go.
Well, I think the idea was that Sammy was kind of Jericho's understudy.
Yes.
You know, you had the tag team guys and Santana Ortiz. You had Hager, who was the enforcer, and then Guevara was like the mini Jericho. And now you have MJF come in and steal his thunder. Yes. I think, it's heading that way. Yeah, it's good, and that should be a slow burn. You know, Jericho. We all know MJF's going to turn on Jericho in the inner circle at some point.
Is it going to be a Rock and Farouk kind of thing? We'll see, like how they do it, but. MJF and Jericho are two of the most entertaining acts in all of wrestling.
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong with the story.
I will throw Eddie Kingston in there right now on the mic.
I throw Eddie Kingston. I throw Roman Reigns, and I throw
Roman Reigns. Yeah.
Sasha Bailey.
Yeah.
But they seem like they ended that on SmackDown. But
who cares?
We'll move on.
Okay. Next up,
who cares that they ended like their top storyline? Are you kidding?
Well, first of all, it should have been on WrestleMania. We can talk about that all day.
Exactly.
We want to talk about this.
SmackDown's more important. They get more money from SmackDown.
Absolutely.
I know I don't agree with that thinking, but I think part of the reason is they want to make SmackDown big. They want to get that demo up. Put your biggest matches on SmackDown.
I regret saying this.
Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose. Hikaru Shida wins with a running knee. I thought this match was okay.
Dude, this was sloppy as hell. And I'm sorry, by the champion. Watch the knees at the end. They were terrible. And I don't know why they're jobbing Nyla Rose out like this. What happened to Nyla Rose being this freaking monster? Unstoppable monster. Like, you can't just find that somewhere growing on a tree. Like, seriously, she is a monster, an athletic monster, a believable monster. And I get they're telling the story of her being subservient somewhat to Vicky Guerrero afterwards, with Vicky slapping her and her take it. I get that. You could have still done that without her taking another loss. She didn't take a loss. She jobbed out tonight. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Hated it.
The AEW women's division is weak, and I think everyone knows it. If you argue otherwise, you're not paying attention. This is one of those areas where I see no benefit with AEW partnering with Impact other than bringing in some of the women's talent, because Impact does have
They do, but then what? Raj, continue to showcase their girls over your own?
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean,
that's what they do with NWA.
And are you bringing in this show that does 100,000 viewers to yours that does, when DVR viewers are accounted for 1 million viewers and putting it on the same level?
Really, yeah. First of all, you bring yourself down. No offense to Impact. I really don't mean it this way. But, like, you don't want to be swimming around with Impact. You don't want to be swimming around necessarily with too many on NWA. But Serena Deeb, yes. Billy Kay, maybe. Nick Aldis, abso-freaking-lutely. But that's about it. Just their top stars. And then when they're on, you don't give them more limelight than your own talent. I don't care if it's the opening act of your talent. You still protect your talent to look like bigger stars than anybody from any other show. Really quick, this is why they need to build what's her name?
Baker?
God dang it.
Britt Baker?
Thank you, Britt Baker. Because Britt Baker most certainly can hang with them as far as
she's got
being on the same screen with them and not looking like lesser of a star. She can hang with them.
Yeah, and I think Baker would probably be the champion right now if she didn't get injured.
They need to rush it because
yes.
I mean, I would argue that Vicky Guerrero would be better fit with Hikaru Shida than Nyla Rose.
So here's my thing with the results of that match is I don't dislike Hikaru Shida, but for whatever reason, probably because there's a language barrier and stuff, they're limited on the storylines they can use her with. Mm-hmm. I think Hikaru Shida is a better wrestler than Nyla Rose, but I think the Nyla Rose Vicky Guerrero dynamic, you can do more storylines. You can have Vicky cutting promos. You can have them as the heel team, and I think that would create, more storylines and create more interest for the women's championship. Because if you watch the pre-show, the NWA Women's Championship is much more interesting right now than the AEW Women's Championship, that's a weird dynamic.
It's a problem. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, I think that one of the problems with American wrestling with foreign talent is they don't know, they have to expect them to speak English as opposed to let them do their promos the way they want and do subtitles. You see it in UFC, it's effective as hell, it works all the time, but wrestling hasn't found a way to figure it out yet. And Hikaru Shida, I've heard she does awesome promos in Japanese, but they haven't found a way to just let her just be her. They have to give her English lines, and it's just not effective. And Asuka has been able to pull it off.
They finally did it with WWE. They let Asuka just talk in Japanese, and you see that she has all this
way over the top.
Yeah, I'm saying you see that she has all this charisma and all this energy, and it works even though if you don't understand a word that she's saying. And if you're asking someone to speak a language that they're not very good at, they're not going to cut like as charismatic of a promo.
Yeah. So let them cut a promo in their language, put some subtitles, see if it works. If it's not working, then move on. But we've seen UFC, and that's one of the closest examples. I mean, it's scripted combat sports, and just try it out. We haven't tried it.
Mm-hmm. So after that, we've got... go for it.
Justin Lopez saying, I hated that this was a title match and Nyla lifted her up before the 3 count made no sense.
No, there was a lot of botches in this too, guys. There was at least 5 botches I saw in this match tonight.
Yeah. JG Pez 06 saying, I'm tired of the Joshi. Oh, man. I'm tired of the Joshi pushes in AEW, WWE, and NXT.
Well, there's a distinctual difference, I'll argue, between WWE's Joshi's and AEW's, but whatever.
I mean, I agree. I think, Io Shirai is the best women's wrestler of the last 20 years, in the ring, bell to bell. I'll never get tired of seeing her.
I would argue NXT has been doing them the best.
Oh, NXT's women's division is the best in wrestling.
By far.
Maybe Stardom is deeper or something like that. But even at the top level, I would probably go with NXT because they just have great matches. So I have no problem. You're never going to hear me say I'm tired of seeing Io Shirai matches. I don't care what's going on.
And we've seen the first hour of SmackDown this past Friday night.
Yeah,
Sasha, which half an hour of it was Sasha Bailey. 2.3 million viewers, and then it dropped to 2.1 in the second.
So real quick, what was before SmackDown? Was that political coverage?
I don't know.
I wasn't watching
SmackDown. I wasn't really. But
it wasn't like SmackDown's benefiting from the
But if they're benefiting from a big run-in, is what I'm saying.
But they're usually not. It's pretty consistent where they're at. And the last 2 weeks, they've done a 0.7 rating, and that first hour, I mean, a 2.3 rating is not going to be off of the first 15 minutes. It's going to be.
What do you mean?
Depends how big it is.
They're not going to get like 2.9 from the previous show.
I might be incorrect because I only saw the report before SmackDown happened, but I saw the report saying that Joe Biden was going to speak like at 7:45 or 7:30 right before SmackDown, and obviously that's going to drive a lot of news coverage. And so I was thinking that if you have
not a bad point though.
If you have 8 million people watching that news coverage on Fox,
but why would they drop? But why would they drop in the second hour if they're still waiting for Joe Biden to speak?
Well, more people are watching it, and they're like, "Oh, this might be interesting."
Beginning.
It's a good opportunity for SmackDown to show to people who normally wouldn't watch. I mean,
more importantly, we're getting off it a little bit. We're talking about whether Bayley and Sasha can draw, and I do think.
Oh, they can.
Regardless on what was before then, before the show, I still think those two would have drawn the rating.
Oh yeah, I mean, they've already proven it in the past. So there was a history. Awesome. Last week, they still did the same rating and actually did more viewers, even before the Joe Biden speech. So.
Mm-hmm. So after that, we had the Young Bucks versus FTR. This was a long match. Started off with FTR style, doing a lot of working over the Bucks, working over Matt's foot. And the finish, which I thought was very interesting, Cash Wheeler going up for the springboard 450, misses it. Matt super kicks him with his exposed foot because they had taken it off earlier. To classic heels to work over the injured arm or injured leg. And the Young Bucks end up winning, so they win the tag titles, and I guess the stipulation was if they lost, they would never challenge them for again. Right. So if they lose them again, they can get them back.
This was an unbelievable match. Love the psychology. I still think Dax is the bigger of the two stars on that team. That guy can do everything. And people are would normally sit there and say, well, what the hell is he doing? 450.
Dax the bald guy.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I get them confused, too.
Who's
I had
the
to
one
look
with
it
the
up.
hair?
Cash Wheeler.
Sorry. Cash Wheeler I like better. Slightly. Because, dude, he does everything.
He's jacked.
He can do He's big, he's jacked, he looks like he can kick your ass. He doesn't have a gut like his partner. There's no offense to his partner. And he could do things athletically to keep up with everybody on that roster while at the same time being a throwback wrestler as well. Dude, that spear through the frigging second and third ropes to hit his opponent and go onto the outside and not break his neck, it in itself is quite a feat, guys. Athletically, I can't even begin to tell you. He is so damn good. He could be a single star. I know they won't because as a tag team, they're incredible, FTR. But this was a great match, great, well executed. The Bucks still need to improve. I know they're my friends. I don't like saying this about them, but they do need to continue to work on their acting, especially Matt. He's got to continue to improve when he's selling. He makes the same face over and over again, like this biting of the lip face that he continues to make anytime he doesn't like something bad's happening, or he's in pain. It's the same face. Go back and watch. I'm being super critical of it because I think they're the best by far and away tag team in the last 20 years. And that's saying a lot. That's my opinion. I do. But they need to get to that next level on the promos and the acting part of the wrestling, in my opinion. So this is only going to make them improve because they do a lot of acting in this storyline. And I hope they got a lot of their crap out of their system. They're going to continue to improve because of it and be the real best tag team that we've seen easily in the last 20 years.
I love this match. I thought it was one of those where it started out and you're like, oh, it's pretty good. And then in the middle, you're like, oh, it's good, but it's not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be better. And by the end, it was awesome.
So well done. Oh, and even the pin. He didn't hook a leg. I usually would have a problem with that, but I didn't because it was so spent of energy. It made sense that he'd still hold his leg or his ankle while he was in a pinning predicament, It made sense. I liked it a lot, the whole match.
I love the FTR dynamic with the Young Bucks because it's not just flips and dives and going through tables and
he hurt his fist. He literally hurt his fist from trying to throw fists tonight. I love that. Right?
And I loved it because it makes you wonder, like, oh, was that planned? Is that a real thing? I mean, it was really, the FTR bring that reality to it, and it wasn't a high flying shit show. And
they brought out. Listen, I forgot to say this. It's important, Raj. They did bring an element out of the Young Bucks we've not seen. That gear of being pissed off and aggressive. They were more aggressive tonight.
Yeah. It felt more like a fight as opposed to a dance, and that's what has always bothered me with Young Bucks matches and Bucks, just a lot of wrestling today is that it feels more like a dance than a fight. Like you're trying to win as opposed to you're trying to impress. Right. And this felt like the Young Bucks. You know, there were times when you still had it, but it.
No, but it's overly choreographed sometimes. Whereas FTR is a perfect spoil to that because they're throwing straight haymakers right in your nose. You know what I mean? To bring the realness right back to the match every time.
Well, that's why I appreciate the dynamic in this feud in particular, because you're going to have people that prefer the Young Bucks style in matches, and you're going to have the people that prefer the FTR matches in styles. And so you kind of, and I like both too in their own way, but I like the dynamic where people can really feel like they support one team or the other, like it's a real sport. And it's not just rooting for baby faces and heels. It's rooting for almost philosophy and style.
But why would Young Bucks start to get heelish during
I don't like the build. If you want to talk about the dumbest...
I don't understand that either. But you can tell in the package tonight, they were trying to angle it that they're getting more aggressive. They're getting angry. And it's like, you guys didn't have to beat up Tony Schiavone's self.
Yeah, it was kind of hokey to me.
I felt like they kind of killed the build a little bit. Like they should be the ultra baby faces because FTR are the ultra
great heels. Great heels.
And they did kind of try to get that back on track with FTR taking out Matt's leg, and they finally got to that point. I think this was an easy build to do. I think they went a little too fancy with it, tried a little too much with it.
They botched the build of this feud, but the match was great.
Yeah, to me, it was like one of those matches where at the beginning of the match, it's worked slowly because you got to build the drama. You got to have them working over Matt's foot. You got to set up for Nick to get that big hot tag. You got to set the stage. And I think some people 5 or 10 minutes are like, this is the big match. It's kind of boring. But by the end of the match, you're like, damn, everything came together perfectly. It's how you structure a good, long title match on a pay-per-view.
It's one of those where I don't see how some people just will never be into wrestling, but if they have a small percentage chance to get into wrestling, if they watch this, I don't see how you don't get into it. Granted, there wasn't much of a storyline to get into, and FTR versus Young Bucks, I feel like they kind of botched that storyline, but it was an awesome match. Real quick, SV saying, good show overall tonight. Not great, in my opinion. Sammy Hammy double turn tonight. And does AEW get to Bucks versus MJF Jericho for the tag titles? I actually like that.
Yeah, that's a great way for them to work that MJF Jericho storyline.
Who would you have win that, Matt?
With win what? The tag titles?
If they went to the Bucks versus MJF and Jericho.
You got it. Just because they're the EVPs of the company and they've been there for so long, and they've been misused, they've not been selfish enough with wins. They being the Bucks, I got to keep the titles on Bucks for now.
Really? I think you got to go with MJF and the Jericho. You could go because you got months of storylines with that.
Then you become WWE because now you're foregoing a real tag team division with your 2 best tag team wrestlers, the Bucks, losing to 2 very good single stars, which I'm never a fan of.
And I think that's MJF and Jericho. That's a feud you could get to in 8 months. I think MJF and Jericho. I think MJF and Jericho are going to be
they already did the first match. I don't think it's going to take 8 months.
Well, I think he's going to be in the Inner Circle for a while, and it's going to be a slow burn to him eventually turning on Jericho. Maybe not 8 months, but I think that's going to be a long build. So after that, we have the Ultimate Deletion match. I'm not going to really go through all of everything that happened in here because we'd be here all night. Yeah. Matt ended up winning the match. He busted Sammy open and then hit him over the head with a chair while his head was against the concrete floor to get the pinfall, because there was an actual pinfall counted by a referee in this match, but this was your cinematic match. A bunch of stuff happened. Yes. A bunch of people ran out. Probably most interestingly, Hurricane Helms and Gangrel also made appearances. Private Party was there. Santana Ortiz showed up. Matt ran over Sammy allegedly or appeared to have run over him with a golf cart, and then he got out. Or Sammy was in the golf cart, and Matt was in a monster truck and ran over Sammy. I mean, stuff you wouldn't expect to be talking about on a wrestling pay-per-view, but that is what happened. And it wasn't that surprising having seen a lot of these cinematic matches. How you guys feeling about the cinematic match and just in general what happened?
It was a good change of pace for the rest of the whole show, I thought, honestly. But, yeah, happy for Sam. Was going to be happy for Sammy, but he didn't win.
Yeah, I think he should have won.
Yeah.
I think cinematic matches have kind of jumped the shark.
Mm-hmm.
I was, I love the Boneyard match. A lot of the reason I loved it was because I didn't want to see that match in the fucking Performance Center. And now we're getting to a point where they're overdoing it. You have to do a sense of disbelief when you're watching pro wrestling. Like when you're watching a pro wrestling match, you have a sense of disbelief. And then with these cinematic matches, it's just way, way beyond that. And I'm just not there. I find it stupid now. And I thought this was stupid. And
yeah.
With Impact, when they did an Impact, they're a low-ranked company that has no fans, that no one is watching. So it was cool, that it was entertaining there. But for a top-rate company, for a company that has national distribution,
and they were in AEW AEW's having a great pay-per-view, like with traditional style matches.
Exactly.
It's not
you don't need it.
Yeah, it's not like this is something you have to do because you have no other options. I'm done with the cinematic matches. I'm like you, Raj. The Boneyard match, which I didn't like as much as other people, but it's fine. It was for what it was. But
I hated all those matches with no fans in the Performance Center. Like,
well, it was dead at that. They hadn't figured out. There was no Thunderdome. There was no enhanced crowd noise. That was pretty bleak time for WWE production wise. But with this match, I will say there was at least some concept of wrestling. They had a referee. There was pinfall attempts. They were in a ring. So I'm going to rate this a little bit higher than things like the Swamp Fight, which are just not matches. And they're just, someone got pinned at the end of this match. No one got drowned or eaten by an alligator. So I'm going to go a little bit higher on that. But it's just, to me, it's funny. I get some people really like these. It's funny if you're a big wrestling fan. It's funny to see Gangrel. It can be funny to see Hurricane Helms show up. It's funny when Matt runs over Sammy in a monster truck and then says, "That's what I call a squash match." But it's not pro wrestling. It's just this weird entertainment segment. And
I love the part with Helms and Hardy where
it's funny.
He can finish it, but how many people are going to get it that are today's fans? And Gangrel, that's 99. Like we're going back 21 years.
Yeah, he says, I was you didn't honor me and I was your original mentor. I guess he was Sammy's mentor. I don't know if that's an actual thing, like if he ever worked together or he trained him or anything like that.
Yes.
But I don't know, man. I thought this...
But Matt went over.
This was the cool down period. This was where you could check your emails and pay your bills.
Well,
make a snack. But so Matt did go over, and I was pretty surprised by that because this seems like a feud that would be obvious.
Because he went over on the last pay-per-view. Sammy is the guy that needs to win.
Yeah, I agree. Sammy is the rising star, and I don't think that's obvious to me. Matt is an older veteran who doesn't matter if he wins or loses these matches. I get that it's his special match. I get that it's on the Hardy compound, and
even more reason to give it to Sammy, though.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. And I mean, I don't want to say Sammy got buried, but they rolled him into a trash can at the end of the match, threw him away. Like that's what you would do if you were writing someone off in a feud.
That ending reminded me when you remember Triple H and Shawn Michaels threw, I think it was the Spirit Squad in the dumpster and the OVW
on the cardboard box to return to OVW. Yep.
Right.
Well, didn't Vince McMahon throw Eric Bischoff into a garbage truck when they were running Bischoff off?
Bischoff is already an established star, but
I know. Oh, so you're talking about the Spirit Squad? Like, I mean,
taking a guy that could have used the win.
And Sammy's not just like a random mid card guy that you have there. To me, he's someone with obvious star potential that you want to push and you want to protect. Him a little bit. I mean, I guess
you could do a rematch at the next, a straight up rematch where Sammy just beats the fuck out of Matt Hardy, then we recover from it. But Sammy is one of their bright stars. I thought this did him no favors.
Yep, I'm with you on that. Then we had Lance Archer, Jake Roberts promo. They were in a back alley. Jake Roberts said something like, Lance Archer is hungry and he eats people or something to that effect. But this was just a backstage promo. Archer cut a promo afterwards. Nothing really to write home about. And then after that, we had Jericho versus MJF. And this was a match where MJF picks up the win, and it was a creative finish. MJF, Wardlow comes out, and he gives MJF the ring, and Jericho ducks the ring, and Aubrey Edwards turns around and starts yelling at Wardlow. And then they throw Chris Jericho the bat. MJF ends up getting the bat, and he tosses it to Chris Jericho and does the Eddie Guerrero spot, right, where he falls down like he hit him trying to get the DQ.
Awesome.
Which the only psychological problem I have with that is that nobody ever gets DQ'd in AEW, so it was a bad strategy on MJF's part. But it ended up working out because when Jericho turned around and started
arguing, great strategy because he knows no one gets DQ'd.
Yeah, so Jericho turns around, starts arguing with Aubrey. Aubrey's threatening him to DQ him, and that's when MJF rolls him up and gets the win. And what I really liked about this was afterwards Jericho shakes his hand because Jericho respects MJF. Jericho likes MJF. He challenged him in this match because he wanted to see if he could beat him, and he outsmarted him at his own game. So, what did you think?
Well, I agree with what you just said. I agree with everything you just said.
Raj?
I loved it. I remember 15 years ago when Eddie passed away, I was at a bachelor party, and I remember that day getting the text where they were like, Eddie, and they're going to do, you need to call about Eddie. And I was like, I didn't think anything of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's just one of those things that seeing them pay tribute to him in that way it's just awesome for someone who had so much respect and so much love. And and doing that ending, it was so creative. I loved it.
Yeah, well,
I love this match.
It fits.
It wasn't a. It's not going to be a 5-star Meltzer match, but I loved what they did.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen that spot kind of done before, right? Where everyone pays tribute to Eddie Guerrero.
Doing it when they did it.
But they never. But this was like a new twist on it. Basically making it the finish, but instead of doing the DQ spot, just having him do the roll up. And
instead of paying so much attention to it being a nod to Eddie, because we've seen thousands of other nods to Eddie over the years, rightfully so.
Right.
You need to pay attention. Let's pay more attention to the fact that this fits MJF to a T.
Yes.
To do what he did at the end of this match. His character was so spot on to everything consistent with what I expect from MJF.
I remember when I was thinking about it, I almost got emotional. I was just kind of like, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and obviously Chris Jericho was one of Eddie's really close friends in the business, and
you can see where the inspiration came from.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, it fits MJF's character because MJF cut the promo with Jericho saying he's like, I do anything to beat you, and I mean anything. And when people say that, it kind of makes you think they're gonna hit him over the head with a chair or do something super violent. But for MJF, it was just being super chicken shit heel, doing this really obnoxious spot to get a roll-up win. And I like that dynamic of Jericho's okay, you got me, because the storyline is that Jericho likes MJF. They're not really feuding conventionally right now, so Jericho's okay, this guy does have what it takes because he won in a really underhanded way, and that's what I want to see out of him. This was designed to challenge MJF.
This storyline, because I look at the best storylines in wrestling right now, Roman and Jey Uso, I feel like WWE has a plan for that. Matt Hardy and that shit, no. I feel like they're making that up as they go week for week. And this, you feel like they've got something. And they got two of the most entertaining characters in the business with MJF and Chris Jericho. And I have not been disappointed. They're the most entertaining characters that we have. Mm-hmm. And if you are a character-loving, fan of the business, that's what you want. Because that equals ratings.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out, I know people like to mock Jericho for his physique and that kind of stuff. I actually think he takes 50. He takes a lot of bumps for a guy who's almost 50. Like he doesn't go.
Yes.
Like can't all be Matt Morgan's. I mean, I am. Let's take the shirts off.
No. but like for a guy, like you see a lot of guys, like he doesn't come out there and he doesn't take like 2 or 3 bumps. He's out there.
He's there to work. He gets everybody over.
Yeah. And he's probably not like athletically.
Ric
he's not
Flair
what he used to be.
Never that guy. I mean, you don't need to be that jacked up guy.
Once you become a legend, and Jericho is a legend.
I mean, Ric Flair was. It's just beating the guy at some. Yeah. It's just being that star.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's a legend. Like he's gonna be a
Stone
star.
Cold was never a body.
Doing whatever he wants.
Who?
Stone Cold.
Right.
I mean, he was a really big guy though.
In
that era, it doesn't stand out.
I have a picture of Stone
much.
Cold, and I'm his height from 5 years ago.
Yeah,
or 3 years. But anyway, regardless,
Stone Cold's shoot height aside.
If you have the charisma, that shit doesn't matter. To a point, you have to look like an athlete. You have to look like Hulk Hogan could look like he could beat up Andre the Giant. Jungle Boy doesn't. Stone Cold can look like he could beat up the Big Show, but Chad Gable doesn't. You have to look.
So you don't think Chad Gable looks like an athlete?
I know he's an Olympian. Of course, he's an athlete.
When he means it this way, let me help him tighten this up. He means as far as an athlete, it looks like they could kick your ass in a fight. You don't want to meet them in a dark alley because they will F you up.
Like in the movie, would you cast him? Would you cast Chad Gable to be Drago against Rocky? No. Even though he would whoop Rocky's ass. So.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I think that MMA has taught us that. Just, having
we still have that. There is still that.
I mean,
that we're behind them.
Yeah. All right. Let's go on.
Body guy is question. Comments aside,
it's not a body guy thing. It is.
So we did have, it is a body guy thing. But Orange Cassidy backstage segment. Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends.
Miro, I think they've kind of ruined Orange Cassidy's appeal, in my opinion.
They've ruined his appeal. So much of
his was being the lazy, hands in the pocket, doing his cool spots.
This was a great Orange Cassidy segment, and here's why. So they're giving him a promo. Miro and Kip Sabian and Penelope show up, and Kip Sabian starts yelling, says that, Orange Cassidy, you need to give my Penelope, you put her in danger last week. You need to give her an apology right now. Like, Kip Sabian's a total asshole, and Orange Cassidy just says, I'm sorry. And Kip Sabian slaps him and says, that's not good enough. I feel like that was perfect Orange Cassidy. That was Orange Cassidy actually gave an apology when you weren't expecting it to be.
But in the match, you've already seen it. He gives full effort. It just kind of kills the gimmick. I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
I thought the promo was fine. Backstage
you loved the kicks and the
build
flips.
of Orange Cassidy. I did like, but now the cat's out of the bag, and now he's just like a wrestler like anybody else.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So I really don't care what he does right now, if I'm being honest.
Well,
he's kind of become another. He's just a wrestler. He wrestles in the ring, and then outside of the ring, he just kind of does his.
Yeah, but is there a real alternative to that? Do you just want should he have just done nothing the entire time? I feel like that would get stale.
Until he gets stale, yeah.
I would have built it longer, and longer. And then that win on Jericho, for example, would have been a year down the road.
It's kind of like when people say with Goldberg, his win streak.
To a degree, but like with Orange Cassidy, it's hard to start taking him serious now all of a sudden. My question is, why didn't he do this any of the other times? Why did it take 6 months to do this? I mean, I don't know. There's so many questions that I have more than answers for.
So we'll get to the main event here, the I Quit match, Moxley versus Eddie Kingston. We already talked about Eddie Kingston's outfit, but we can talk about it more if you really want to. No. So they had an I Quit match. They did a bunch of stuff. There was thumbtacks. There was blood. There was a barbed wire bat. It ends with Jon Moxley wrapping his arm in barbed wire and putting Eddie Kingston in the bulldog choke. Eddie Kingston ends up saying, I quit. And so Jon Moxley retains the title. And then there's the post-match. Kenny Omega comes out and him and Moxley do the stare down. Obviously, that's the next title program.
Yes.
Raj, what do you think? Okay, go for it, Matt.
This was a mud show match.
The mud show wrestlers.
I'm being serious. This was a lot of hardcore stuff, which, okay, that's cool. But I don't know. I get sick of it sometimes. I think John goes there way too often. Moxley. Most of his matches now are like that, which you can make the argument, at least it's different. But I don't know. He's a champion when I watch him, right? He's supposed to be the man. And I still don't feel him as the man of that company. By far, a long way away, I look at him from being the man in that company, even though he's a champion.
To your point, Matt, I think I see two people as the superstars of a company.
Cody.
And what's that?
Cody's one of them, right?
Yes, Cody and
MJF and Jericho.
Yeah. Those are the ones.
Moxley's the MVP of AEW in 2020 for me. He always delivers.
What?
His promos are always good. His storylines are always good. His pay-per-view matches are always good. I totally disagree. He has the aura of a champion. He comes out there and he fights with it with all his all of his heart. I feel like he's a total big star. I think you guys are way off.
No. All you got to do, brothers, go back in time to see his debut and tell me, is he better today or worse today? Don't use COVID as an excuse, because other talents have gotten over in this COVID era. Roman Reigns.
Right.
Of course he's going to look worse when he makes his big debut in front of 14,000 fans, or how many people were there, as opposed to when he's wrestling in empty arenas.
Okay, how about this? The next couple arena shows after that.
Roman Reigns turned heel with no fans. And...
But my point is, I'm Jesse, not just that moment, not just the debut. The promo after with the paradigm shift that he was talking about. He's going to change, revolutionize the business. And then it got stale about shitting on WWE like it does for everybody else when they come to these companies after they've left there. Dude, he is not... I like him a lot. I just don't see him... And by the way, Eddie Kingston smoked him in that promo on AEW this past Wednesday. It wasn't even close. It was not even close. Eddie Kingston lit his ass on fire on that promo. It was not even debatable between the two guys who was the bigger star in that moment, especially on the microphone. Moxley, I just don't think he's champion material for them. That's all.
Did you think Eddie should have won the title?
Yikes, no. Yikes, no. And that's what's so weird about it. I love him, but you're right. As far as the wrestling part of this, he has a lot to be desired, right? Am I wrong for saying that part?
So the promo exchange on Wednesday, that is one of the best promo exchanges I've ever seen.
Yeah. Easily.
It's so good, and it's something that I was actually happy when the ratings came out, because I saw that AEW's viewership was still pretty strong, because I was worried that not a lot of people would end up seeing that live. And I feel like, to me, that's a promo you can show somebody who is not watching the product, has no knowledge, and they can watch that promo exchange and they're like, oh, I really want to see these guys go at it.
It's real.
And I liked that they did the stipulation that they couldn't touch each other, so you didn't have to do a pull apart. You didn't have to do a pull-apart brawl. The idea was that these guys are going to be really intense. They're going to go nose to nose. They're going to say some really serious stuff. But if you want to see them actually fight, you got to pay to watch that. It wasn't just.
And that's the way it should be, to be fair. But like everything else, what Moxley does to nip this up. Sorry, I don't know. I loved him when he first started. I just don't feel it anymore as him being the man there, like I did when Jericho was champ. I'm not saying Jericho still needed to be champion, but. Who else would you guys make champion? Is MJF ready?
Right now?
Too soon. MJF needs to get that killer instinct. He's not there yet.
I think Kenny is going to win the title from Moxley.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then I think that sets up another Omega Hangman match.
Who has AEW built to that level?
That's...
This is why COVID is a challenge because it's unclear how over someone really is because you don't get those big reactions.
We had like 7 months before.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a long time ago. I mean, a lot of stuff has happened since then.
Arenas.
Yeah, I think it hurt Drew McIntyre that we couldn't tell how big of a star people thought he was.
But WWE has built Roman Reigns to be this.
But we know Roman Reigns is a big star.
No,
he's been
but
the
he
most
is
pushed.
taking-
But he's been the most pushed person in the company to basically the detriment of a bunch of other people for over 6 years or 8 years since he debuted with the Shield. So we know he's a big star.
But he has taken ratings up. Like we have seen it turn a business up.
We think.
Oh no! I mean, they are doing ratings now that is doing what they were doing pre-pandemic.
No, I agree. I'm not denying. I don't want to come here and like crap on Roman Starbush, but I don't think that
Roman's been outstanding.
And I know he has, but I don't think I want to put Roman like and say like he's an example of someone comparatively to somebody who's been built recently during this pandemic era.
So here's the thing: it is harder during this pandemic to get that immediate feedback. That like when I wrestled, my feedback was from the fans live, and then the next few weeks. But this is why it's more important for creative to be on top of their game and be good at what they do, because you're not getting that instant feedback that you usually get from arenas. So again, WWE with what they did with Roman, let's be clear, Roman's doing a good job, but WWE did a good job of writing the right shit for him to put him in that
did a good job
too. Fine, whatever, but it can be done. Is my point. It can be done, and AEW needs to make it be done for Kenny Omega. They need to write better things for Kenny Omega. Hangman Page for sure. Stop making him wear those stupid outfits. How come we don't talk about that?
Stop making him look like a little bitch, looking around like all sad all the time.
Yes.
He looks sad all the time.
Well, so what I'm going to say this about Hangman is not necessarily my personal preference, but I think that's what they're going for. And this is what Tony Khan said in an interview a few days ago. He said, the idea with Hangman is that he's supposed to be a very human character, right? He's supposed to be this guy who like is relatable because he's this younger guy trying to break through and he has some insecurities like a real wrestler would have, right?
All right. So Jesse, have you seen Tombstone?
Tombstone, the movie?
Yeah. Who do you remember?
Yeah. The big guy, the heel with the mustache. Oh, God. The heel.
What's his name?
Damn it. With
Doc
the big
Brown?
mustache.
No, not Doc Brown.
The heel. I remember the heel.
Yeah, Val Kilmer. Whatever Val Kilmer's character is. That's who you remember.
Oh, Doc Holliday.
Doc Brown. But at some point, the badasses are the ones that stick around.
No, I agree, and I think that there's a fine line between trying to present him as human and trying to make him a badass. And I see your guys' point when you say like he looks like a sad dog or he looks like a jilted girlfriend when
at some point you look like a bitch.
A push.
You need to man up.
Yeah, and I think there becomes a point. It's like, how do you want to market him? Do you want him to be this multifaceted human character, or do you want him to be a little bit more of a stereotype? Do you want him to just be a badass cowboy who drinks a lot?
How has every badass been marketed? Like as someone that's a puppy dog? How many of those have been marketable?
But yes, but there also needs to be a physical part. Is like the drinking part's cool, but like I don't drink and I could whip anybody's ass in a one-on-one fight. In my opinion, my own personal opinion. My point is that's not what makes you tough. What makes you tough is when you start punching people in their face, and they never give him that moment. He never gets that comeuppance to not just out wrestle somebody and slingshot Larry at them. I mean, backstage jump somebody and just start beating the crap out of him like Stone Cold used to do.
Yeah, so this is
Stone Cold used to do the Fez press, right? It was always perfectly timed in the match of him to shift to that gear where he's mounting and boom, 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 riling off punches to the dude's face. That's what a badass does. He needs that.
So I'm just gonna ask, would you guys
wrap up here?
No, real quick. Just what'd you guys think of Roman bursting into tears at Hell in a Cell? Did you like that or dislike that?
Oh,
I loved it because it was
great layer.
Okay, so Hangman Page looks sad, and that's bad. Roman literally cries and bursts into tears in the middle of a match. And
Roman Reigns is like taking control of his entire family lineage on the line.
So the the storyline justifies
yes,
the show emotion. Okay,
yes.
Because as soon as he turned him, he just had that evil look, and it was such a great evil look. Roman's evil look was so perfect. Roman is so great right now.
He's talking about when he cried, though, specifically. It made sense.
Yeah, it's not...
Now, Kenny Omega, we're not saying he's crying, like, for shoot crying. We're saying it's worse. He's sitting out backstage in the damn Gimmick-tron, watching his ex-friends all hang out together. Why aren't I in the ring with them? I should be in there as part of the Elite, too. Maybe I should go. Maybe I shouldn't. No, I'll have a drink. I don't care. I don't care about that. Go punch somebody in their mouth.
So my guess is the idea is that he's disappointed that he lost this match to become the number one contender. He's talked about in the promos how disappointed he was when he lost the original match at All Out for the championship. So he's trying to look mad and depressed because the character is that while people like him and he drinks to gain this confidence, that he also feels insecure. So I don't really have that big of a problem with it. I think the storyline is fine for that.
But to be where they want him to be is two different stories, though.
He's not there yet.
My fear is we won't follow it along. We're going to lose. We're going to be lost on it. We're going to get lost. Oh, Raj is trying to charge me.
Let's get these super chats. Ryan W. is saying, Miro should have beaten Moxley. Absolutely. They have fucked him up. He is a video game sad. Like, they have fucked him up to no end.
Yeah, they have. Yes, they have.
And
I agree.
I can't say this name, but have EK wear KO-esque gear inspired of spandex. I don't even know what that means.
He wants him to wear Kevin Owens gear instead of the gear Kingston was wearing.
Oh, for Eddie Kingston. Okay, gotcha.
Not even. He shouldn't be wearing basketball mesh shorts. No, he needs to be wearing jeans. He comes from the streets. He's going to gut you.
Yeah, he shouldn't be wearing bright neon Boys to Men going on.
Boys to Men.
Manish Malu saying, was that a work shoot? Raj, Matt, all is well? Yeah, of course, all is well.
No, it's terrible. He hung up on me. You guys shouldn't watch anymore. He hung up on me. How rude.
And Kevin Alexander saying, decent show tonight. Didn't see a match that delivered quite like Walter versus Dragunov, however.
Oh, brother. I just recently saw that.
You sent me that link.
Holy crap.
Was that your favorite match?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was hard hitting. Dude, they kicked the crap out of each other. No, not all time.
Oh.
So, but of the last 5 years, yeah.
That's
yeah.
That match
I kicked each other's ass in.
That was the first time you had sent me a match on YouTube.
Yeah, so I was so impressed by it.
So Walter, and if I'm on the podcast, I'm going to say his name. We're going to say his name right. It's Walter because he's German. Because he's German, so it's a V sound with the W. But that match was the best match out of any of these COVID era, any of these pandemic eras at utilizing the empty arena setting. Because I actually think if that match was in front of a live audience, it would still be awesome, but it wouldn't be as good. The idea was that these guys were just going to be so physical and just beat the crap out of each other. And you were going to hear everything and you were going to see everything. And that's what made the match so good.
Makes it better. The watch along is funnier. The watch along's funnier with it though. With Shawn Michaels going, "Fuck that! I would have nothing to do with this."
Bullshit. No one knows about that match, so no, it's not the best match. The best match in our current times is Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso, and him just beating the fuck out of him, him getting him to that story, because that's what people get invested in. That's when people care about. How many people really are thinking about Walter versus what was the name?
Yeah, but the platform doesn't. The platform shouldn't. Dragunov.
Bell to bell.
Yeah, like the platform. The platform doesn't. The platform.
But no one
matter.
cares
if
about
WWE
that match. That match makes 0%. That makes it makes 0%.
Watch it, please. Just watch it because I gave you the good.
Oh no, I already watched it. It was awesome. I mean. It was brutal. It was brutal as fuck, and I appreciate wrestling for being not brutal as fuck. I like guys not having to kill each other.
And soft style
to tell a story, but they did. But anyway, fuck it. All right.
No, I'm
saying
no. So
Jesse's making fun of you for liking the soft style pro wrestling, where people protect each other. But I appreciated this because I sure as hell wouldn't be doing it. Like,
well,
dude,
that's what
I was so impressed by it. I was so impressed by it.
Yeah. Well, do you think WWE should show it on SmackDown, Raw, or NXT?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, right. You get. I never watch
no
NXT.
Difference to that business.
I never watch NXT UK. I never watch it.
I would have missed that. Yeah.
I would have too. And there's a lot of stuff out there that I don't watch the shows regularly, but if I hear like, oh my God, you have to see this match, I go and watch my way. And now if I hear they have a rematch, I'm hyped. I'm getting ready to watch it. Well, you don't do that if you can at least try. Put it on Raw,
but no one gives a fuck, right? Like at some point,
see what happens.
You got to promote. You have only so many minutes on TV. You got to promote things that people care about.
All right, well, Walter is a monster.
Walter, no one cares about.
Why? I mean, that's it. You can't.
Matt,
do it if you can't try.
Matt knows business.
I got into it with him when he was a rookie. I worked him at a battle royal in Austria. He was called the Austrian hero Walter back then. He was like
awesome story,
late
Matt.
teens,
Here,
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
No, he really was.
No, this is an awesome story. This is why I like having you.
I became the Bob Holly, which I was very disappointed in myself for later on. That
the Bob Holly.
The whole handshake crap. I worked a match with him, and I remember he didn't shake me and this guy Joe Legend's hand as well afterwards. And I'm like, who the fuck's this fat bleep? Have some respect. Thank the guys that flew all the way here to help put you over and work with you, kid. And because I didn't know he didn't talk English at the time. So I just think this kid's staring at me. I'm like, I'm about to go off on this kid. And I didn't. I bit my tongue and I walked away. But later, like 10 years, 15 years later, I see him NXT UK. I'm like, wow, he did good for himself. But this was a long, long time ago. And I'm not a fan of his build per se. I know it sounds bad, but it works for him. And how they book him, I don't know. It reminds me of Ring of Honor Joe a little bit, quite frankly.
I think
he's really good.
I think he's the best. I think he's the best worker in the entire company. Like,
dude, Shawn Michaels on that video. Did you hear Shawn?
Yeah.
Michaels.
I didn't watch the watch along. I didn't see the watch along version of it.
Watch that. It makes
Should I? Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Please watch it. He goes. Shawn Michaels called him like the best. What do you call him? Like the best champion, the most dominant champion in the company, which is saying a lot.
Well, he does really simple stuff. It's not like he's out there doing crazy moves or anything. He basically just has a few signature moves that he gets over. He does the power bomb. He does the big splash. But other than that, he's just beating the hell out of people.
The back into the face.
He's believable. He's
He's
a really good talent. The big thing with him is that he doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to move to the U.S. He doesn't like. That's a big thing, is that he doesn't want to come to the U.S. So
and the good thing is also that no one knows who he is. So
no, I mean, in the big scheme, yes, Raj, you're correct. But
even
why not
in our wrestling fan scheme of things, no one knows. If I told my wife Walter is wrestling tonight, she'd be like, "Who the fuck is Walter?"
Jesse is correct. You say Walter.
Yeah, it's Walter. And then, did you know who like Leaky was when he was in FCW?
No, and he became nothing.
That's Roman Reigns.
Proving the point.
Yeah, no, that's Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
No, Leaky.
No, I didn't say low key. I said Leaky. Is that how you pronounce his name in NXT? I'm just saying.
Liaki.
Yeah, Liaki.
So she knew who he was. I'm just kidding.
No, like, so at any point, it's at some point you gotta they eventually pushed him, and that's how people know who he is. You can't just be like,
point,
no one will ever know who.
Charisma takes over.
And he's got a ton of charisma. He has a ton of charisma. He's got great presence in the ring.
Who are you talking about?
Walter.
You think Walter is a charismatic guy?
I don't know who this Walter guy is. I only know Walter. And I'm telling you, he's got so much physical charisma.
You think he's like a Brock Lesnar?
Physical charisma.
Yeah, that's like
when
he's doing his job and he's the champion and he's the ring general. And I've seen him. I've watched him all over the world. He always gets over. I have very, very little doubt that if he came into the WWE,
everyone listening, I bet $10 that Lars Sullivan will be in the main event before Walter.
Of course he
is.
That's
not fair.
Main event of what?
A pay-per-view.
So was the Worlds Collide show not a pay-per-view? It was a network special.
No. Who watched Worlds Collide? No.
I was on the Wrestling Inc. podcast about it. What are you talking about? I'm just saying he was the main event.
A real pay-per-view.
Well, that's just because Vince doesn't know how to push people.
Are you going to do it? You taking the bet?
No, because I think you're right that Lars Sullivan will get the main event because Vince wants to push him as a big star. That doesn't make it the right decision. I have very little doubt that if Walter was, it's not going to happen, but if Walter came to the U.S. and he got a big push, he'd get over and he'd be a big star.
We'll make the stakes less. We'll make it. Do you drink?
I'm not taking the bet.
Okay.
So it's not happening.
Because you know you're going to lose.
Because I know that Vince likes Lars Sullivan more, so it's way more obvious that
I'm right. So I go by study. I do studies. I look at the studies.
We've devolved to the impersonation portion of it.
Now I do it in front of Matt, but it's funny.
What's this imitation I heard you can do?
I do have a hilarious Trump impersonation. Non-political.
Yes, go.
I just think you did the great studies. You look at the studies. It's all like it's coming. They explode.
So Matt's reaction is funny. Raj's impersonation is not.
Okay, hold on. Raj, Ray, give me a second.
What was that? Oh my God, thank you.
The studies about the wrestling matches. Hold on.
Talk about him not refusing to leave the White House or something. Dude, that's an easy promo to cut. Do that one.
All these votes coming in. The Republican votes, they explode. All these Republican votes exploding. I don't know.
What's this British accent? Why does he have a British accent?
I don't know what that is. Oh, this is so much better than Glenn said it was. This is way better.
He's going to put Alec Baldwin. You got to get it.
It's all. All right.
Alec Baldwin is a good one.
I'm basically impersonating Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, I mean, it's not any good impersonation.
The votes.
Yeah.
What are his thoughts? Watching?
What are his thoughts on Lars Sullivan versus Walter as a main eventer?
Well, I have a Lars Sullivan impression.
You do? No, you do not.
Quite.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. He's some of the things he's done. I don't want to see it.
You picked on me. No, it's like I have to.
You picked on me. You know what I said about that, Raj? Raj, that's stupid what they're doing with him by trying to talk about how he got bullied as a kid and now he's the bully. Dude, that's so lame. It cancels each other out. Like, why would I want to feel sympathy for my heel? I don't.
If you heard that about Brock Lesnar, it's like, what the? Yeah, exactly.
No.
Just go back to how you scripted Brock Lesnar and repeat it.
Repeat it. I want to hear he came out of the womb a bully and a jerk.
And it was like, to your point too, if they went to you, it's like, just kill him. Just have this big guy killing motherfuckers.
That's it.
And they fucked it up.
Well, they struggled to book people like that. They always have to try to give them a little bit more personality than they can handle. And then all of a sudden they're talking about how they don't wear shoes because they like how their feet feel.
Dirty feet.
And they lose their first name. So
that is not. Oh my God.
What do you think the chances are? What do you think the chances are that Lars Sullivan will lose his name?
Chris, a smell. You can't count those votes. You can't count. It's too smelly. Everyone knows this.
Raj, this sounds like I don't know, Ebenezer Scrooge with a British accent. I don't know what that is.
Do you think Lars Sullivan will lose his? Do you think Lars Sullivan will lose his name soon, and it'll just be Lars? What do you think?
Oh yeah.
That's happening, right? He's just Lars.
For sure.
Here comes Lars.
Is that really true? So Riddle is no longer Matt Riddle. Is that really a real thing?
Yeah, Riddle lost his first name. It's stupid as fuck because they think like people will